Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Ken and Ken take the stage, ready to play. Weekdays at 10, the cars on the scene. Coffee in hand, they're living the dream. Aggression in the voice, got the whole town awake. Bringing fire to the mic, make no mistake. Shows in the corner, spitting out facts. Dropping truth bombs, ain't holding back. Ken and Ken in the morning, feel the heat. From 10 a.m. CST, can take a seat. We live and loud, that break in the mind. Ken and the bold. Light up your speakers, crank up the sound. They're talking about life upside down. Opinions exploded like a sonic blast. In the studio, they're built to last. With passion and grit, they engage and ignite. Every single week, they're a force can't fight. From sports to politics,
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
And good morning. Welcome to another edition of Ken and Ken in the morning. It's a Friday morning. Here comes the weekend already. They just seem to fly by so quick. For those of you who work, you're like, thank God it's the weekend. Now I can do the honeydew list all weekend. So are you really not working this weekend? That's the question. Morning, Joe. Good morning, Ken.
Oh, good morning, buddy.
Like I put a damper on everyone's weekend plans.
Yeah.
Look it. Everyone's got to realize.
You had to remind us because all the way before this, we had plausible deniability where we could have said, oh, we forgot. But no, here comes fucking Ken.
Forgot what?
About having to do the honeydew list.
What honeydew list?
There you go.
I don't have a honeydew list. I'm retired.
Yeah. No, that means your list is twice as long.
That's the only list I have is a honeydew list. Yeah, once you retire, that's it. It's honeydew list time.
If there's one thing they're good at, it's filling your time up with stuff.
Oh, you better believe it. Or to surprise you, hey, we're going to go and see this person and that one. Like, I don't want to be social. It's my day off.
I love how it's, hey, we need to go do A. Okay, fine. I'll go with you to go do A. And then, now we got to go do B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. I'm like, what the hell are we whole alphabet for?
There you go.
But just remember, though, it's put Friday in a different light for you. Friday is the path to the dark side.
But see, they know what they're doing.
Hold on, Joe. Let me finish it.
Sorry.
Friday is the path to the dark side. Because Saturday leads to Sunday, Sunday leads to Monday, and Monday leads to suffering, which leads to hate, which leads you to the dark side. Just so I could go full Yoda on you. Go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to say that they know what they're doing, because if they told you beforehand that you were going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, you would say, fuck no. So they tell you that you need to go A, because it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Well, yeah, but you know it doesn't work anymore, because she did that the other day. Hey, can you go with me this? I'm like, no. She's like, well, I'm like, because your quick trip to one place becomes 15 other places, and I ain't got time for the other 14 places. And she just kind of looked at me like, damn, he's figured it out. I'm like, yeah, because I'm not going to all these places. Like, how is it a 30-minute trip turns into 5 hours every time? And she just kind of looks at me, and I'm like, look, I like going places with you, but I have other things planned that I want to do, right?
No, don't you know you were supposed to check in with her about your plans first?
I'm like, I guess I'm not cutting the yard today. She's like, what do you mean? Well, that's what I was going to do, but you wanted to go all these meaningless places I could care less about. Oh. I mean, I actually wanted to get on the riding lawnmower and cut the damn grass. You got cut every 7 to 10 days in Florida, right?
Otherwise, you find alligators in it.
No, basically, yeah, dude. It becomes like the Amazon rainforest. It can get so bad. And then we got rain for a couple of days where I couldn't cut. So I think I went almost like a full 2 weeks. And, dude, let me tell you, I was about ready to have the kid grab the rake and start raking up the cuttings because they were clumping. And that's going to kill your grass, right? Because it sits on top of the grass. But it was bad. Let me see here. What is he saying? We don't have his photo, but we do send to his YouTube. And JB should be back in a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Not really. It's an old house.
So yeah, the honeydew list. God, so enjoy your honeydew list this weekend. Oh my good, look at this, the mic. We have a
Holy
Mike
shit, we got a Mike the Bear fan.
Holy crap! Grass is evil. Burn it all. Actually, part of my backyard does not have grass right now because we had to re-level the backyard so I didn't get flooding by the fence. Because it's you know how expensive it is to fence a yard these days.
No, and unfortunately, I'm gonna have to fucking put up a new fence because my neighbor decided to rip down a whole bunch of trees.
If you don't do it yourself, it's thousands of dollars to just put up a simple wood fence. And my backyard was flooding along the fence, which means I'm going to rot the wood out and have to replace it every couple of years. So we spent the money to level it with the sand and then seed because they want $3,000 for sod. Like no, $100 for seed is good. So yeah, I got sand with little bits of grass popping up there. I figured by then it's summer I'll have a full backyard. The things we do to make our grass look good and our yards look good. And why? It's not like we roll around and play in it. The dogs enjoy it. We just look at it and go, oh yeah, I got a yard I got to cut. Honeydew list. Then you got to figure that's what these players are doing right now, the married ones. Because like, dude, I mean, there's just not much going on in the NFL. Good morning, Eric.
Yep,
I would hope that they could afford. I would hope that they could afford yard guys.
That's what I was just thinking, Joe. I can tell you, if I'm an NFL player, I'm not cutting my own shit.
You know
they got professional landscapers.
So, like, we had a yard guy here, and I don't know, first off, yard guys used to be neighborhood kids, right? That's how neighborhood kids made their money. Now the kids can't make money because it's all adults, but now you call these companies up, say, hey, can you please give me an estimate to cut my yard? To do, for your service, for me to hire you to take care of my yard. And then, like, you call 10 companies, 2 might show up to give you an appraisal, right, or an estimate. And then they say they'll come by. Okay, well, let me write this up. I'll email it to you. And then they never email it to you. It's like, well, do you guys not want to work? Like, why? It's like, it's hard sometimes to find people. Believe it or not, my last house, we had 10 different, you just kept trying. And you're like, oh, then all of a sudden, well, we're not in your coverage area anymore. Okay. I wish I had a neighborhood kid to do it. I would have paid him, but ended up buying the riding lawnmower and now I get to ride my lawnmower, drink my A&W root beer as I go. And there's something cathartic about doing yard work, about cutting the grass, man.
I was with you all until the A&W.
Yeah, we have in the garage fridge. We have always have at least a 12-pack of A&W that's reserved for when you do yard work or put together like furniture or something like that. You go grab a garage root beer.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the
regular
restaurant.
beer exists too, right?
Because the A&W restaurant, they have the best root beer floats, dude.
Oh yeah,
they do. And Ken, drinking a beer on the riding lawnmower sounds okay until you get a DWI.
Yeah.
That's why you just got to make sure you tuck it between your legs.
You can get a DUI for cutting your grass in your yard on your riding lawnmower with an open. So they'll nail you for 2 things: open container and driving while under the influence. Even though you're just cutting your grass on your riding, they'll get you.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I live in the area that I do then, because they don't give a shit what us hillbillies do out here.
Well, no, you're so far out in the middle of nowhere that no one even comes out there anyway. So it's like, there's nothing out there unless they have a drone to catch your crops. You're okay.
Yeah, but it's illegal to even look for crops now in New York State.
Eric, exactly. What's wrong with A&W there, Ken?
A&W is a fine root beer, but it pales in comparison to real beer.
You don't always have to have a real beer. What about alcoholics out there who can't drink, Ken? Huh? I'm not that big of a drinker anyways, but yeah,
alcoholics can't drink. So you're telling me they're a bunch of quitters?
I'm telling you, broski.
Yes, I'm a quitter.
It just comes right up. I am probably a quitter, dude.
I mean, I enjoy my A&W, drinking my can of A&W as I scoot on my riding lawnmower, cutting the grass. I mean, what's wrong with that?
Oh, yeah.
The only time I drink root beer.
Yeah, I never told you about my Saturday excursion a few weeks ago to the distillery by me. And well, not by me, about an hour away. It's in an old state penitentiary.
Yeah, you told us about that.
Yeah, it was a pretty good trip.
Yeah.
Very unique. Also, very good bourbon. A true 2-grain bourbon that's not cut, not so tough to find these days.
Especially when you're on your riding lawnmower cutting the grass.
Amazing.
Amazing, I tell you. So that's what everyone's gonna be doing this weekend. What the second I said that this morning about the honeydew list, guarantee a bunch of guys went, "Fuck, I gotta cut the grass this weekend."
No, I guarantee a bunch of guys who were watching this and go, "Fuck you, Ken."
See, A-Dub, exactly. I don't drink root beer on a daily. It's just like when we cut the grass, do some yard work, whatever. That's the the garage root beer. It goes in the garage fridge. There's always a 12-pack of it in there at least. And yes, Ken, there is beer in there as well.
Okay.
Just to make you happy, there's some Medallia Light, some good Puerto Rican beer. But the garage root beer is special, man. You only drink it when you maybe cut the yard or perform some other task where you're in the garage. I mean, geez, I tell you, Ken gets so opinionated there, right? I mean, geez.
Oh my God, no! It just sounds like you're running a fucking sitcom over here.
Well, some days, let me tell you.
You mean like Seinfeld or something like that?
Yeah, But you got to figure, like you guys say, like NFL guys probably have a yard guy, but I'm telling you, it's hard to find a yard guy in some cases. And I live in a nice neighborhood, so like the neighborhood I live, you'd probably have an NFL guy who'd have a nice, modest house in my neighborhood, and he'd have the same issue. It is hard to find people who come do work in a lot of places now. Like you call these, hell, to fix my hot tub, we called 10 different companies before one actually showed up.
I just want to say it's only going to get harder the deeper we get into Trump's presidency.
I see what you did there, Joe.
That's good.
I was just going off of the demographics that I read.
No, but it's funny though, because what's funny, Joe, about all the guys who own these lawn companies? They're almost all veterans. They're all guys who did 3 or 4 years in the military. And guess what you do when you're a private E1 to E4 in the military? You cut grass and pull weeds a lot. Seriously, you do area beautification. So these guys all get out and they start lawn care companies because hell, what they do in the Army for 4 years, they cut grass and pulled weeds, and you had sergeant majors yelling at them, "Stay off my lawn!" You look at these, what other area vets go into? Personal training, because we do so much damn PT. These guys figure, hell, I can just go become a personal trainer, and a lot of them do. It's just. Yeah, my pool guy's a vet, which I don't know how that one translates because it's not like we do drown proofing, but that's like twice a year. So I don't know how you become a pool guy. We don't do pool maintenance, but yeah, it's funny. Like but kids used to that's how they used to make their money, right? You'd walk around there with your lawnmower and knock on the door, "Hey, $20, I'll cut your grass," and the neighbor's like, "All right, cool." And you spend an hour or two cutting the grass, make your $20, and then go buy your baseball cards or comics or whatever you spent money on as a kid. Now the kids, it's impossible. Kids can't get newspaper routes because A, who reads them? B, for the people who still get a hard copy paper, it's an adult in their car who whips it at your house at 25 miles an hour as they whiz past. You can't get it. If you're a kid, you can't go cut your neighbor's yard because some adult has a company that supposedly does it.
Yeah, that's the issue here, is that we got quite a few landscaping companies. And let me tell you, those sons of bitches are expensive as hell.
Yeah. And look at like some of them, like a guy I used to work at Harley with, that he quit Harley to do this. He makes tons more money than he did at Harley as a certified mechanic. And Harley, remember, they charge you $120 an hour, right? When you get your bike fixed there, or whatever it is. He makes more, it's Florida, so he does a lot of palm trees, trim up the palm trees, stuff like that. But yeah, these guys make good money, good money. But he's like, he does everything. They edge it, they trim your trees, they cut your grass, they do all the edging, they clean everything up. It looks like it's been professionally manicured. Unlike most of these companies, there's a guy on a 0-point lawnmower, whiz, see you later.
See, I think that was a 90s thing, Ken. I think it was like 90s kids were the ones that would walk around with their lawnmower. Like
80s and 90s,
I don't think kids nowadays have the gumption for it.
No,
they'd rather play their iPad and shit.
Yeah, like in the 80s, I had a fleet of push mowers in my garage. My parents' garage, I had like 3 or 4 different lawn mowers that I had acquired and sometimes fixed. Sometimes as simple as just a spark plug was needed, right? And I'd walk around the neighborhood and cut people's grass. And yeah, $20 couldn't get you. Well, I had my kids cut my grass for $30. There's a good story about that one that Dorn might like. So my youngest, he lives with me permanently, right? And it's like, hey, $30, you cut the grass. And it's almost a half acre. He's like, all right, so he'd do it, and his brother would come to visit, and he would subcontract his brother. You ready? And I'll give you $10 if you cut a portion of the yard. And he's like, okay. So he had his brother cut the front. The 2/3 of the yard was the front, and it'd take him 2 hours, and then he would cut 20 minutes the backyard. I'd pay him the $30, and he handed his brother 10. Smart kid. But it's hard for kids. It's hard to get the kids to do it. You're right, Joe, because they want to play the iPad.
I was going to say, shit, my crippled ass used to go around and cut the grass in my grandmother's neighborhood. They ain't got no excuse.
Yeah, dude. I mean, how else were you going to get money? Like, you ask your parents? No, it was the 90s. Your parents are broke, dude. Like, so it was like, I didn't get paid to do chores. I just had to do it.
Oh, exactly. That when I found out that kids got an allowance, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
So those that live in the Chicago area will know this one. I had 3 newspaper routes for the Daily Herald that I did every morning. So I had 3 routes I just made into one big mega route. And then the Countryside Reminder was a weekly paper that came out on Thursdays. I had 2 routes for that one. So I had 5 paper routes, plus I was cutting grass as a kid. And then as soon as I could legally work, I went and got a job. And my first job was at a Taco Bell, believe it or not. And then I worked for TCBY, if you remember those places. But that one was a little bit of a haul from the house. I couldn't just ride my bike. My mom had to drive me, so I ended up leaving that one. And that was at Brown's Chicken for like 2 years. I mean, and then I worked at a comic book store. And it was a funny thing, too. I worked at a comic book store, but not like as an everyday clerk. So everyone knows, like, Tuesday was new book day, right? So all the new books would come in on Monday. So my buddy and I would go there on Mondays, help the guy who owned it. And the name of the place was Kane's Comics. I think he's closed now. But we'd go in there on Monday and help him sort for all the people. Because remember, you'd have your subscription, like here are the titles. And right, so you come on Tuesday, there'd be a bag with all your books. And you pay him your $18-20 for your 18 or 20 comics, whatever, and you'd go. So my buddy and I would go in there and help him sort it all out, help put everything on the shelves, and we would basically get, you would pay us, and basically I got my comics for free when I was collecting comics back in the day. But yeah, I did that as a kid. Kids today won't do that crap.
No, when I was 11, I had a paper route, plus I would cut lawns, and then it's like once the leaves started falling, you're like, oop. My weekends are going to be busy again, because then you go rake leaves. Like, raking leaves is big business, man. Nobody wants to get out there and do it, especially if they got a big old pile on their lawn. They're like, when it's 2 foot thick, they're just like, oh, man. Like, I'll get out there and get it.
Dorn ran away as a kid. Let me see if I follow this right. So Dorn ran away to Florida. Well, that explains a lot. He was trying to be Florida man before there was Florida man, and now he's just Wisconsin man. But then when he got home, he's rewarded for his running away with a brand new 3-wheeler.
I was gonna say, shit. That sounds like a hell of an incentive.
That explains a lot, John. And it sucks because like this time of year though, it's like at least we have the honeydew list because there's no football to watch. So at least it keeps you occupied if you've got the honeydew list, because it's not like there's any football to
I can
watch.
find way better ways to keep myself occupied than to do random chores for the old lady.
Yeah, sometimes it's not a bad thing. I mean, because during football season, let's be real. On Sundays, my wife knows she doesn't bug me from the time Hallis Hall starts until the end of Sunday Night Football. It's like it's a no-fly zone, right? Like you don't even go near the man cave. Unless you're bringing me food or something, because she will do that out of the kindness of her heart. She'll bring me dinner or something, which she doesn't have to do, but she does. It's a no-fly zone. Like you don't come in there on Sundays and say, "Hey, can you do X?" Because you're going to get that look like, "Are you stupid?" No, I can't do X. It's football day. So they do give us our Sundays. So, I mean, in the off season, especially like right now, I mean, it's like, okay, and look, it's pool season. If you're not in your pool, first off, if you don't own a pool, what's wrong with you? Secondly, if you do have a pool and you're not in it,
My pool's a koi pond.
you should be floating in your koi pond then.
I can't afford a pool. I live in California.
No, $200 at Walmart can get you one of those little 14-foot deals.
Yeah.
Where you
We had one of those, and then a squirrel fell in it and drowned, and I had to clean it up.
Yeah. Because let's face it, no matter how big your pool is, you're doing the same thing. You're sitting in a floaty drinking a beer.
Yeah.
That's it.
I do got to say, though, I guess I've been doing a good job with my kids because they don't want to do anything for free, but they will come up to me and be like, "Hey, can I go rake the leaves for $5? Or can I go, they're money motivated, dude."
Wait, hold on a second. Mitch wants to keep playing this game with me. Mitch, I'll take your lake. Like, who needs an itty bitty tiny lake? And I'll raise you the Gulf of America, which is right out my back door.
Oh, I was going to say, if that counts, I got one of the Great Lakes as a pool that's damn near right out my door.
Yeah, still smaller than the Gulf of America, and the beaches aren't as nice.
Yeah, but I don't got to worry about getting ate by anything in my freaking water.
That's not true. What's that fish? They got that fish in the Great Lakes, the one that comes on the side and just bores the hole. Yeah, you got those to worry about.
Yeah, you don't really get them in Lake Ontario.
Oh, but they're there.
I
mean, that's like I get sharks in the Gulf, but it's not like I have to see them all the time. Good. Here's a good question, Mitch. Mitch actually asked a good question because this is what we call tourist season, and all you little tourists from up north are down here checking out my beaches. So I'm hanging out my pool, so I don't have to see all you damn tourists with your 3,000 SPF Hawaiian tropics that smells like god awful. I don't know what. Yeah. No, John, they're not when you have a pool guy. And then you run your Polaris. Your Polaris just runs, cleans the bottom. And my wife just bought a new one. It's electric. I just dump it in, and it cleans the bottom. So I don't have to use the Polaris because I'm not going to have another one that does the skimming on top. So I have one that just automatically skims the top, picking up debris, another one that does the bottom. I don't have to worry about chemicals. I got a pool guy I pay for that. I just go in and enjoy it. See, John, they're not a lot of work.
Yeah. If I can ever afford one, I want to get a house with a pool.
When I moved to Florida, I'm like, I gotta have two things if I live in Florida: a pool and palm trees. That was my thing.
I was gonna say, I think one of them's already there.
No, you'd be surprised how many houses here don't have palm trees, especially up here in the Panhandle. My current house, I have tons of palm trees. My last two houses have had tons of palm trees. But I'm retired, John. Of course, Jesus. When it comes to my pool, I still do work on the pool, but like when I had the above ground, I did all the pool maintenance. With the in ground, I just pay a guy. It's just simpler, and I still mess with the skimmers, so I do have to set those up, John. So I do a little work, and then I go in there and I play with the grandkid. So I mean, come on, I got the best of both worlds. But I mean, you'd be surprised, and so I got the above ground pool, which can be a lot of work. It's a lot harder to maintain above ground than it is an in ground. Now I've got the in-ground, and I love it. And I've got the screened enclosure, which means I don't get all the leaves falling into it anymore. Like the old house, I had bamboo. So I'd have 1,000. Every day I could go in there and spend an hour just cleaning out bamboo leaves. So that was kind of nice. So I got to spend time in the pool, relax, while I was, hunting bamboo leaves. So it was fun. But
yeah, that don't sound like fun.
No, it was. You make it. It was. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was like you're doing a little bit of work, but you're really not. You know, you're still like enjoying the pool, but you're not. As far as why you don't go to the Gulf during tourist seasons, because the traffic to get there, and then it's all tourists. So, and actually, if we do go to the Gulf during the summer, no, I picked the pool guy, John. He's an Army guy, and he brings his wife with him when they clean our pool. It's a husband-wife operation. So, dude. But like, when we do go to the Gulf, we'll go about 3 o'clock in the afternoon because that's when all the tourists are bugging out from the beach, and then we'll hit the beach for an hour or two. So, yeah.
John, dude.
John wants to be the pool guy.
John's talking about Rodrigo, the pool guy.
Yeah.
Got a 6-pack chiseled while you're at work. He's cleaning the pool.
Yeah.
But John forgets,
Fabio.
I'm home all the time. Remember, because I'm retired. But no, the pool guy brings his wife actually. So, it's funny because when we go on vacation, we were gone. Yeah, exactly. We had a good video of him with our dogs because he started our dog. So he's like playing with the dogs and making funny faces at the dogs. It's hilarious.
Dude, I'm too fat to skate.
I was gonna say I would pay money to see that.
Yeah, I don't skate. I did when I was a kid though, but I was never any good.
So but this is where we're at in the NFL season, man. It's like we're talking about pools and yard work because today literally nothing. There's some OTAs scheduled, of which we'll hear nothing. The only big news still is 30 of the 32 second rounders have yet to sign a contract, and they all want guaranteed rookie deals.
Mm-hmm.
That is the only news out there. And so the only question I have on that is, at what point does that stop? At what point in the second round, like what's the cutoff? Like how deep into the second round are these guys going to get guaranteed deals? Thank you, Cleveland, for screwing everyone over by giving the first one out.
Don't forget Houston too.
Yeah, but Cleveland started this stupidness, and then Houston followed it. Stupid AFC teams. What's up with your conference, Joe?
Oh no, but Jack Betch, our second round pick, still hasn't signed either.
Well, yeah, because he wants a fully guaranteed deal like every other second rounder. Next year, Luke is going to want a fully guaranteed contract for flying to Vikings away games. And you ever notice how Luka doesn't invite us to go with him? I mean, geez, come on, Luka.
Yeah.
He probably has enough Hilton Honor points and Sky Miles. We could go for free.
Man.
I don't know if I really want to go to a Vikings game. I mean, I wouldn't mind going to the one in Dublin. That sounds pretty fun, but...
Well, you mean you don't want to have some giant horn blowing your fucking eardrums out every time they get a first down?
No.
I want to see the Vikings play a game in Oslo where real Vikings live.
Yeah.
And then have the Norwegians laugh at them for all their little things they do. That would be hilarious. Ooh, will the NFL ever play a game in Norway?
Probably.
Yeah.
I was going to say, with the way the NFL's going, I wouldn't be surprised if they have some gimmick eventually where they're trying to play on the fucking moon or space station or something.
Well, I mean, because right now we've got England, we're getting Ireland, we've had Germany, we've got Brazil, we're adding Spain. France is on the list, but I don't know because their president is too busy sniffing cocaine to work out a deal with Goodell. But yeah, why not?
That just means he can stay up late into the night to make the deal.
And are we sure that he's not sniffing cocaine with Goodell?
There you go. That's how the deals are getting done.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm pretty sure we're going to see live from Iraq by 2028.
Oh God.
Yeah, this is the one here, man. Okay, Luka, I hope if the Vikings got stuck in the Australia game, Luka, would you try to go to that game? Because I know how much airfare costs to go to Australia. That one's going to be very prohibitive for fans to go to. because we were looking at going to Australia after my son graduates, and for the three of us to fly to Australia was like $10,000 just to fly to Australia. Yeah, no doubt. Don't go wearing purple and gold and claiming you're a Viking. They might, a real Viking might have something to say about that. It's gonna be expensive to go to games in Australia. That's like, for family of 3, $10,000 to fly, just to fly. It's ridiculous.
Sorry, guys, you had me at cocaine. I was kind of I heard cocaine and I perked back up. I'm here.
Hey, Broski, are you sure you're not my long lost brother?
Well, considering I'm Irish, Lithuanian, not Italian, probably not.
Hey.
But in spirit, you never know.
Hey, I do have some Irish blood in me too. So we're not brothers; we're long lost cousins.
So what revelations do we get out of the NFL this weekend as you're all doing your honeydew lists? Anything?
Absolutely nothing. The only thing that you're going to hear is, well, here's my top 5 list at this position. Here's why I think that this guy that I absolutely love, that's a middling guy, is going to be just the greatest in the league.
Yep. Top 5 breakout players. Like that type of stuff.
So you mean basically everyone's going to turn into a Packers fan?
Yeah. No.
Or I mean a Lions fan.
I was going to say it's off-season time. That means they're all Bears fans with that off-season trophy.
Undisputed off-season champs 3 years in a row.
Oh, hopefully one of these days this will convert into the regular season for you.
Look at they went from spending almost the least in the league on the offensive line to 6. So it better. You put that much money into the O-line, it damn well better be fixed.
Well, the X factor is injuries, and you have no control over that. So I can only hope.
And unfortunately, with those high-priced guys, the guys that you got for the offensive line, a lot of them are a bit older, so that risk of injury is a little bit higher.
You know what, though? You know what, though? I mean, with the O-line, though, have you noticed in the league, the good O-linemen are between the age of 29 and 33? Look at them. All the big contracts, all the really good linemen are right around that early 30s.
I don't know. We got a hell of a lot of young guys that are real good.
You got Zach Tom.
Elton Jenkins.
How old is Elton Jenkins?
He's probably 26, 27. Let me look.
And he's going to get a huge contract at 29, 30. But you look at the league, a lot of these really good linemen are like late 20s, early 30s. So that's a different position group. Like you want running backs young, you want linemen older. Don't answer that question. So if the Lions trade Goff next season, okay, do you think they can sign most of their number 1 tier players that are with Dorn? I didn't even finish reading it. I already saw a problem with your premise. What number 1 tier players?
Yeah, I was going to say, except for center, like the good centers are all younger right now. Like the Creed Humphreys from the Chiefs, and the kid was at Lunderbaum from the Ravens, and Zach Frazier on the Steelers. They're all like 25 or younger. So,
but
there's a mix.
Tackles. They're like, you get some good tackles, or a couple young, like Darnell Wright was a good young tackle. But like, especially at the guards, it seemed to be the older guys.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, there are a lot of left tackles who've aged really well, who have had really good careers into their 30s for sure.
Yeah. It just, it takes longer for the line guys to kind of get there, whereas the running back should be there from jump, you'd think. So it is interesting. But yeah, Dorn, your question has problems there, because according to the Lions, everyone's a tier 1 player on that lineup. So
even the practice squad guys.
Yes. It's just not fair. It's not fair. The Lions have to cut their own players, and they get to go to other teams in the league. They're just so good.
The other thing is trading Goff. Like I don't know who's going to trade for him with the kind of money that he's looking for. Like
I don't see him getting traded because if he takes a restructure, I'd see him staying there. Otherwise, it would just be a flat out pop.
So if Goff doesn't get there this year, because remember they signed a contract like JB and other Lions fans and Main Event Mike and other guys were saying, look, he's got 2 years on this contract to get him there. They can cut bait. Okay, this will be year number 2. Do they cut bait on Goff at the end of this year if they, let's say, miss the playoffs or are one and done in the playoffs or don't have a deep run where they go to the NFC Championship or the Super Bowl? Do they cut ties with Goff this year? Like, what's the bar at for these quarterbacks now? Because think about it, that's where Goff is. What about, you could ask the same thing about Jordan Love. You can ask the same thing about Burrow. You can ask, a lot of these guys. Like, where's the bar at with these guys? Like, where the teams are going to say, okay, I'm not going to give you $50 million a year anymore if they're not winning playoff games, making getting you, like, what's the expectation? Like, do you have, as a quarterback making $50-60 million a year, do you need to get to a conference championship game at least once every 3 to 5 years? Like, where's that at? Like, where's that cutoff and say, okay, you're not going to be the guy? Like, where are they setting this bar at now?
Well, I'll tell you what, if I'm the Lions and, like, you're going to restructure Goff next year and keep him, like, to me, there's no way they don't restructure. But if I'm the Lions as a franchise, I'm like, if we do keep Goff next season, they have to at least make sure they have his heir apparent in the building. Like, they have to be kind of set on after, like, during and after next season, who's the next in line after Goff. And I really do not think they have that with Hendon Hooker. So
no, they don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can ask that of a lot of football teams. Though. Like, look, you can ask that of all of ours, right? If Caleb in the next 3 years doesn't get us into a good deep playoff run, when do they start looking for the next quarterback? If Jordan Love over the next 2 years doesn't get a good deep playoff run in Green Bay, right? When do they start looking for their next guy? Because it seems to me that right now that it's like, with the money being what it is, like, dude, you got to make a good playoff run or we're not going to keep, you're not going to go get another contract, put it that way. Right?
I think as long as he's at least maintaining, Jordan Love would get himself at least 3 years to prove it.
Maintaining what?
His level of play. If he has regression, that's when you'll start to get that talk there.
So let's say over the next 3 years, and this is for sake of argument, not saying this is going to happen, okay? So Packer fans, I'm going to pre-calm you down. Let's say you don't make the playoffs the next 3 years.
If we don't make the playoffs the next 3 years, I think there will be a mob of people wanting Jordan Love to get shipped out of town.
Or probably more realistic, let's say you make the playoffs 1 to 2 of the next 3 years, but don't make a good run. One and done. Maybe you win a wild card game 1 of the 2 years, and that's it. So no NFC Championship games at all for the Packers, let's say, for the next 3 years. You maybe win 1 playoff game over that 3 years. Does that change it for you?
Then I would say maybe not go after a high draft pick for a guy, but it might be time to start to bring in some competition.
And see, I think that's going to be a change that we're going to see because, like Aaron Rodgers, once again, played for the best of the worst, got it. But if that had been another division and the Packers, winning 9 games wasn't perennial playoff, how long would Rodgers have lasted in that team? And like Goff is kind of in that boat, right? Because, think about it though. If you're giving me the look, let's say you guys we were a better division and 9 games didn't get you into the playoffs every year. And let's say you had 3 or 4 years where Rodgers didn't make the playoffs in the middle of his career there. Would he have stayed in Green Bay? It's not a knock on Rodgers. It's saying the league is changing. Like, we expect now, because of the money these quarterbacks are making, like, if you're not in the playoffs in a 3-year period, like if you're out of the playoffs 3 years as a starting quarterback, the smoke starts to kind of build, the smoke starts. And if they're year 4, year 5, and you don't have playoff wins, they want you gone.
Yeah, but if you at least have a Super Bowl on your resume, that's going to give you a lot more leeway.
I would say it used to. I don't think it does anymore. Because you had a Super Bowl like 5-6 years ago, and you haven't done jack since to get back there. You haven't gotten back there. It's like, well, maybe it's time to move on. That's just kind of like, it's not, I mean, look, I'm not saying that's right, but
I was going to say it is way too hard to find a quarterback in this league to just bounce a Super Bowl winning quarterback, as long as it's not like a Trent Dilfer or something.
Well,
like
Russ has been available. Russ has been available the last 2 years, and he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Yeah, but he went through his grace period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and with Goff, he's a veteran. Like he runs an entire offensive system. He's going to be calling plays. So if you move on from Goff, are you then also scrapping the entire offense and sending Johnny Morton and his golden chariot back to the clouds with his unicorns and cherubim? You know, I don't know.
Oh, Dorn, you're missing the gist of the argument, though, and some of it's a what if thing.
A lot of the arguments a what if thing.
Well, no, because it speaks to these contracts and expectations of fans. So, like, look at last year was disappointing, right? One and done. Let's say the Packers don't get the playoffs this year, which is possible with this division in the conference. And let's say the next year he's one and done again. And now he's up for a contract. What's that going to look like in Green Bay for
then that contract won't be the top of the line money that he's making now, where you're one of the top 5 paid players.
I agree with you, Ken.
Your numbers would start declining.
Yeah, I would agree with you, though, Ken. Like, you shouldn't be getting the big contract. But let's be honest. Love is going to want the big contract, as all these starting quarterbacks do, right? So this isn't fantasy
what you
land,
want and what you're going to get are totally different.
Dorn, this isn't fantasy land. This is actual reality here. Like, if the Packers might not make the playoffs this year or might not make it next year, the division's getting better. Okay, you're not going to be the best of the worst division anymore. The division's proving that out. With the Vikings getting better, the Lions getting better, the Bears getting better. Obviously, the Bears are last to join the party, it seems. But still, the division's getting better. So Jordan Love's contract is up in like 2 more years, right? Or it's going to be time to negotiate the next one. Okay, let's say you don't get any playoff wins over the next 2 years. So he'll have 3 years of this contract with no playoff wins under it. What's that going to look like come signing time for him? Because he's still going to want the good money. Because he's like, well, I'm still getting you to the playoffs. You know, so they're going to still want the big money. But at what point are the fans going to finally say, hey, look, dude, you're not getting the 65, 70 mil at that point because you're not winning playoff games. I mean, what? And that's kind of like what we're talking about with Goff. I mean, because Goff, like, if he doesn't get there, remember when they signed the contract, Lions fans, like, if he doesn't get there in 2 years, he's gone. Okay, if they don't get there this year, does that really mean Goff is gone? If Love doesn't get there in the next 2 years, does that mean Love is gone? If Caleb doesn't get the Bears at least 1 or 2 playoff wins over the next 3 years, does that mean the Bears are going to start looking for another quarterback again? If JJ doesn't do it in Minnesota and get them a playoff win or 2, is JJ going to be gone? What's that new byline going to be? Because it seems like there's a new byline or new bar being set for these quarterbacks in terms of pay and how long they stay with the team.
If your quarterback shows at all that he's a franchise quarterback, I still see teams clinging to them for every last bit they can get out of them. Now, if the guy hasn't shown he's a franchise, they're quick to move on from him at that point.
So define what a franchise quarterback does for you. Does the franchise quarterback get you playoff wins?
A franchise quarterback is somebody that's going to be consistently, relatively okay. We'll say that they're consistently in the top half of the quarterbacks, and they're the ones that give you a chance to win. Now, unfortunately,
Kirk Cousins did that every year for Minnesota, yet they moved on.
Yeah, but
that's what I'm saying is the bar changing
for insane amounts of money.
Well, but they all are now. That's what I'm saying is the bar changing for what is a franchise quarterback. Like, I don't disagree with you, Ken. I think a franchise quarterback should be a guy who's consistently good and gives you a consistent level of play at a high level. I agree with that. But is the bar changing now to include that a real franchise quarterback also brings you playoff wins?
I think it's now you're more talking about an elite quarterback versus a franchise. Where a franchise is one that's going to carry your team 5-10 years, something like that. Where your elite guy is going to be your guy going out there winning all these playoff games type of thing, to where you put him in something and he's pretty much going to drag your team across that finish line.
So basically right now, the NFC North does not have an elite quarterback.
But I was going to say we got franchise quarterbacks, not elite yet.
Go ahead, Joe.
I get what Ken's saying though. Like if you're going to spend 20% to 25% of your cap on a single player, you're going to expect a return on that investment, dude. Like, and honestly, I mean, I'm not a Packers fan, so I don't know. You know, I can't really speak for how the Packers do business like that. But if the Packers don't make the playoffs this year, I think the rumblings would be louder than maybe you think, Ken. Like. They just went out and got a first round receiver. Like they're giving Jordan Love everything that he allegedly needs to succeed. If the Packers miss the playoffs this year, I think there would be the ownership would, or the management group would start to be like, you know, asking questions. Like,
I don't know if we would move right on from him, but no. I definitely think that there'd be major implications in his contract.
Yeah, and what I was going to add too is like an elite quarterback to me is a guy who makes everyone else on the team better.
Yep.
Like a true franchise quarterback to me is more just like a guy who's in the top half of the league of quarterbacks. You know what I mean? So that could be like the Jared Goff game manager type who does that very well and puts up, you know, really sick stats every year, or it could be like the elite guy, like the Josh Allen. I am a one-man offense if I have to be kind of guy. So
yeah, Mitch, stop throwing stones from your glass house there, okay? Because you overpaid. Look at the argument you're making for Love. We can make the same argument for what you guys are paying Goff.
Yeah.
Goff too. Let me add this with Goff really quick. So with Goff, I expect he'll be the QB next year. They'll restructure his deal. Most likely he'll be the QB after that. But see, with Goff, if you move off of Goff, the real question is for the Lions, that's like a franchise-altering move. It's going to be bigger than just moving off Goff. It's like, hey, we're clearing out our entire offensive coaching staff, and we're going to bring in a completely new offense and have Jahmyr Gibbs and St. Brown and Laporta and all these guys learn a completely new offense.
Well, and that's the thing, too, because, you know, it's not like, as Bears fans can attest, you can dip into the first-round quarterback pool often and still not come up with something, i.e. Trubisky, i.e. Fields, right?
Yeah.
And now we'll see what Caleb is. And Caleb of the three so far appears to be the better of the three, but we'll see what is after year 2 and 3, right? We saw flashes that say, okay, this guy's gonna be better. But let's see after years 2 and 3, or are the Bears, you know, going to be looking for their quarterback in another 2 years? I mean, look, finding a quarterback with longevity in this league is not easy. The Packers did it right, and I said it back when they drafted Love. Like, wow, they're doing it right. They're going to draft a kid early, put him on the bench for a year or two behind Rodgers, and when the kid comes out, he's going to be much better suited to be a quarterback in this league versus draft and play right away. He was a much more polished quarterback when he became a starter. Yeah, it started a little bit rough, but that second half of that first season as a starter, it came together for him quite nicely. The problem is these quarterbacks, we draft them, start them right away, throw them into the fire, and they seem to burn out really quick. They'll be that first year they're great because no one knows anything about them. Then everyone does their tape studies on them. They figure them out, and then we find out which one's strong. Right? Justin Fields, year 1, great. Trubisky, year 1, great. They both showed tons of upside. Everyone saw the tapes on them, made the adjustments. For Trubisky, the wheels really fell off. Part of that might have been Matt Nagy play calling. For Fields, it just didn't work. He caught the fumbleitis a little bit, right? Because everyone knew he's just going to run. And while his numbers statistically improved very slightly, you never saw the big growth you want. So the Bears moved on, right? Some guys still think that they shouldn't have, but that's another argument for another day.
Yeah, I mean, you spent a first-round pick on a quarterback. Like, to me, you have to give him 3 seasons. Like, you really do. Like, through the ups and downs, through a good season and a bad season. Because after that 3rd season, that off season, you have to make the determination if you're going to exercise his 5th year. So that plays into it as well. But yeah, I mean, regardless, Caleb is the quarterback this year. Caleb's most likely going to be the quarterback next year. After next season, then we'll talk about, hey, is he the answer?
Hey, Goff has one Super Bowl appearance with the Rams, not with the Lions. He has how many playoff victories did he get last year? Yeah. Look.
Oh yeah, Ken. Let me just say this too. We all know the Lions aren't winning a playoff game this year. They're on a 30-year cycle. So I mean, it's 20 more seasons to go until they win a playoff game again.
I mean, look, Goff does have the credentials as far as playoff games over Love, over Caleb, over JJ, obviously, right? But since he got to Detroit, great, he's got great numbers. So basically what you're telling us, Mitch, is you have found your Kirko Chains.
That's what I said. It's Goff, it's Jared Prescott or Dak Goff. It's one and the same. Different presentation, a little different tint, but one and the same.
Because like, what has Dak done in Dallas? Like, what has he delivered? What has any quarterback in Dallas delivered over the last 20 years?
Dak and Goff have put up some sick, nasty time, big time stats too. Like Dak and Goff, they've had MVP caliber stats. Too bad they can't get it done in the playoffs.
Oh. We got to break out the Lions blinders. The only thing that matters is these past 2.5, 3 years.
I mean, look at Goff got him to an NFC Championship game, great. Then went one and done. So if he's one and done this year, they don't make the playoffs. I think that it's not. I think there's not a major crisis, but they're going to start asking themselves, is he worth the money we're paying? And his contract wasn't that bad compared to Love's. I think Love is getting more money than Goff, isn't he? So if the Packers, same thing, if the Packers are one and done again this year or don't make the playoffs for whatever reason, I think Joe's right. There's going to be rumblings and there's going to be questions. Like the only two quarterbacks.
There's been rumblings and questions the whole time Love's been starting because for some reason there's a moronic subsection of the Packers fan base that wants to start Clifford, wants to start Malik Willis.
And A-Dub, here's the answer to your question that's on the screen right now. They're going to cry about the IR. I mean, and then there's some legitimacy to that, right? And JJ may struggle. I think he might struggle too.
Not really.
I think JJ will try to do a little too much at times and get some inopportune interceptions. But I mean, with Caleb, Caleb and JJ are the only two guys who kind of have an excuse for not winning a playoff game this year in the division. I think if you're a Lions fan and a Packers fan, you expect your quarterback to deliver you a playoff win this year.
Absolutely.
I think you do.
And if you ask a Vikings fan, they're expecting playoff wins and possibly a Super Bowl run. So, yeah, that's a little crazy in my eyes.
I don't expect JJ to even make the playoffs, right? I don't expect it. I mean, I'm not saying it. Now, look at Vikings fans. Don't say that. That's me saying you're not going to make the playoffs. What I'm saying is I don't expect JJ to make the playoffs to be successful this year. I never expect that of a rookie quarterback. Now, if they make the playoffs and he gets a playoff win, great. But my expectations for JJ and Caleb, neither is a playoff win. For both, for JJ, is show you're confident and that you're going to be a good quarterback for that team for the next couple years, right? Give me a good baseline to go from. For Caleb, let me see some steps forward. I know there might be a regression here or there, sophomore slump, fine. But I don't expect a playoff win out of Caleb. Now, if I were to get a playoff win out of Caleb or JJ, then I'm like, okay, then these guys are fine. But they're the only two quarterbacks in this division that don't have an expectation that they have to have a playoff win this year to be considered successful.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. No, that's a real good point. And can you imagine, Ken, if the Lions and Packers don't win a playoff game this season, the off-season conversations will be a lot spicier about Goff and Love for sure.
And Mitch, try the Raiders. They had a ton of injuries last year.
I was going to say, when we had a shit ton of guys on IR, we won the Super Bowl.
Well, and last year too, and A-Dub makes a great point here. They kept saying how we have grit, next man up, blah, blah, blah. Injuries don't phase us. Then when they lose, it's like, oh, injuries. Oh, it's my favorite YouTuber.
Yeah. Those teams.
Hey, Joe, how many Raiders were on the IR last year?
Half the team. The Raiders were tied with the Lions for the most players on IR.
Whoops, Mitch. I guess it's not incorrect, is it? Sorry. Shout out to Joe for having the stat. But look, I think actually I made fun of Carl there for a minute, but look, Carl brings up a good point. Believe it or not, Carl brings up a good point. A lot of Bear fans would have been happy to pay Fields $25 to $30 million and maybe trade out of that number one pick and get more capital, pick up, use it to get linemen, whatever, and keep Fields. I know Woody is in that camp too. I was a proponent of it before we made the trade of keeping Fields because I saw improvements that I liked. Broski, I know, was against it for good reasons as well. It's always going to be an argument in Chicago until Caleb wins the Super Bowl or something or takes us deep into the playoffs. That will always be the argument in Chicago, right? That some people will be like, we should have kept Fields. Other people will be like, no, we made the right call. After watching Caleb play last year, I think we made the right call. But I was a proponent of keeping Fields too and paying him money. I really was.
Yeah, I was on the minority side of the Bears Civil War last offseason. I was a big trade Fields guy. And yeah, we'll see how it pans out with Mr. Williams. So far, I think he just has more of the actual quarterback instincts and abilities that you need.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think we made the right call when I saw some of the things he did last year. You could see it there that you saw things that Caleb did last year that you would never see Fields do, that Fields should have been doing.
Yep, very true.
So, oh God, here we go. Let me fill in. The Lions set a record for most players in IR ever. 1 point the Raiders.
You can cry all you want. It's not going to change history. It's not going to change facts, bro. You don't get a sympathy Super Bowl victory, dude.
Yeah, you don't.
Sorry. I mean, if you want me to send a fucking edible arrangement to your place, Mitch, will that make you feel better? You could sit out in the middle of your freaking pond and eat your edible arrangement. We can do that. I'll hook it up. But yeah, otherwise, I really.
Yeah.
And Mitch, you can be on your paddle boat in the middle of your pond eating your edible arrangement from Roger Goodell because he had so many players injured. Wham, wham, wham.
No, Luca, I don't think we're hating on JJ. See, you didn't listen to the condition there, Luca. I'm just saying, I don't, as a Vikings fan as well, you should not expect JJ to carry you to playoff victories this year. Like, that's not the expectation of a rookie quarterback. Right? If he gets that for you, great. Right? But I mean, like JJ and Caleb are the only two who I don't have. Like, they have to win a playoff game this year to prove that they belong. I think the other two kind of do. Oh, I think he's going to make you put a foot in your mouth, John. That's okay. Once again, Mitch, you live in a glass house. Stop throwing stones. I mean, look at that. That's Carl's making an argument that there are a lot of Bear fans out there we're making and still do make. We'll never know now, though, will we? And we're around the last minute, so let me get some of these last comments out. It seems inevitable at this year's Super Bowl or bust for the. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, their window is probably, maybe 2 years, 3 at the most, longer, before they have to start moving on for some contracts, A-Dub. You're not wrong. Okay, cool. I mean the Bears team.
Honestly, Mitch, we weren't. Yeah, Mitch, we weren't crying about that. You're the one who keeps crying about the Lions losing the playoff game. The Bears fans aren't making excuses. You're the one with the crybaby excuses, bud.
Yeah, Just because we had a coach who couldn't game manage a clock, just that's why we fired him. Look at the Lions had a good record last year, and they were one and done. Number 1 seed that was one and done to a team that barely made the playoffs. Yeah. Feeling good. So, yeah, those guys got some work. But, hey, you guys enjoy the weekend. Don't forget the Packers are on tonight. Don't forget House all Sunday. We'll see you back here Monday. Everyone have a great weekend with the Honeydew List and enjoy some pool and beach time. Have a great one, guys. Bye.